Manchester United lose again. How many times are we going to keep saying that this season? And I do feel like now pressure is really piling on Erik Ten Hag specifically, but as well as the players. But I think now the media, the fan base, the Man United fan base is actually split on whether or not they believe that Erik Ten Hag is the right man for the job. And I feel like now his time is ticking.
Every day I've been suffering.
Yeah, so have I.
Because I don't feel myself. I'm panicking.
Yeah,
Don't panic.
No, I am, because I'm going to lose my job.
But was you panicking when...
But to be fair, Man United fans have also been going through it, and he's had a good portion of the fan base that's actually advocated for him. However, the upcoming fixtures are not the most kind. We know they just lost to Newcastle 1-0. They have Chelsea at home. That surely is a must-win, as Chelsea are not even as bad as they are, I believe. Bournemouth should be another home win there. Bayern Munich is now a must win to give themselves any chance of qualifying for the round of 16. And after that big Champions League night, they will go straight to Anfield. And we know the last time what happened when they were there and they were not ready for it, they were not organized. That's the 7-0. West Ham away after that is not an easy game. Aston Villa home will be a fight. Aston Villa are a much better team than Man United now and obviously pushing for top 4. So this could be a very difficult period for Erik Ten Hag. And he is really now, his back is against it.
One eye open when I'm sleeping. One eye.
Before we get into the Newcastle and Man United match and more on Erik Ten Hag specifically and the players, let's just quickly touch on Arsenal. They've won again, another 3 points, back to the top of the table. Well, not back, but they will remain there even after this game week, no matter what happens. Bukayo Saka, star boy, is firing again. Did you see Martin Odegaard's goal? That was an amazing team goal. One-touch finishes, one-touch movements. That is a hot goal. That pass from Gabriel Jesus was absolutely filthy. That is a sumptuous pass and a sumptuous touch there by Gabriel Jesus, and a great finish, first time by Odegaard. Arsenal are playing amazing football. Arsenal finished second last season, and obviously this season they want to go all the way, and at the moment they're leading again. And I just feel like Arsenal are winning so much. This has been a time that Arsenal fans have been waiting for a really long time, years. Even Kai Havertz is scoring goals. Okay, they are not spectacular, but at least he's getting on the score sheet and gaining his confidence back. Little kids now get to go to school and brag about Arsenal. Do you remember the dark times? Do you remember the dark times as an Arsenal fan where you had to go to school after Bayern Munich just thrashed you 5-1 both home and away? Do you remember the dark times, the 8-2 against Man United? And Liverpool were always giving Arsenal a hiding at Anfield. But that's completely changed. Arteta ball is free-flowing. Arteta ball is in full swing. And they've trusted the process. Anyway, let's go back to Man United. It is safe to say that Man United were convincingly beaten last night. Convincingly beaten, all hands down. They couldn't do anything. They were nowhere near Newcastle. They couldn't get anywhere near the ball. Totally dominated. 2 positives though for me. Only 2. Mainy's performance and Mainu's performances over the past few games have been really good. And I think it's a great decision by Erik Ten Hag to play him. He can play and he's clearly good enough even at his young age. And I also want to shout out Lewis Miley, who's been fantastic for Newcastle. 3 games in a row that he started now against Chelsea, against PSG, and now against Man United. And he's put in good performances throughout. The biggest positive of them all is Harry Maguire. For me, give him the armband. For me, he was clearly Man United's best player last night. He was solid. He put in important blocks. It could have been much more without him. And to be putting in performances like this shows a very strong mentality from Harry Maguire after he's been extremely criticized and he's faced a lot of abuse. So I do think we should give him the credit that he deserves, as he was clearly, easily one of the only players on the pitch that you could see he's giving his 100% effort. And yes, I do feel like his other teammates didn't necessarily come to the party last night. Man United as a group were poor, and that includes the manager. Wan-Bissaka basically fell asleep at the back post for the goal. Gordon ran off him. He was flat-footed. He was on his heels. And that's it. That's the goal that won the game. I mean, it should have been more. Newcastle dominated the game. Man United were nowhere near Newcastle. The game should have been more than 1-0. But I feel like we could have played on for even 2 more hours. It didn't look like Man United were going to get a goal. No controversial decisions, no VAR, although Man United this season have been a victim to very poor decisions. But I don't think this is a red card. He's quite low. I don't think there's necessarily anything that we could put the blame on besides the players and the managers. I mean, last time out there was this banner, and I feel like this banner should now come to the stadium every game. Fans should bring it every game, because then it looks like it will get a reaction out of them. You can lose, but you should lose graciously. You should lose knowing that you were beaten by the better team and you gave it your all, not when there's so many things that you could have improved on. I think that's just poor. And I feel like although Onana he's had some terrible games this season already for Man United, but I think yesterday he was okay. He was not on that loud thing.
But what's
yesterday.
that, the loud thing? What's that, big man?
During the week, you can say that Onana cost Man United the game. You can even say that for the Champions League, because he made mistakes at Bayern as well, maybe Galatasaray. You can say that that's a fair assessment. However, the responsibility on how a team is set up and how a team goes out to play should only be on one person, and that's the manager's responsibility. Erik Ten Hag has to take accountability for how he sets his team up. He is the coach, he is the manager. He picks the team and he decides on the tactics for each and every game. And if you look at this graph or this statistic, you cannot tell me that the blame is not on Erik Ten Hag. This is the shocking statistic. This was even before we reached 60 minutes of the game. Man United had 2 attempts, 1 on target, and that was Garnacho's early shot, if I'm not mistaken, very early on in the match. And the rest of it was Newcastle. It was all Newcastle. And that is a strategy that was implemented and chosen upon by Erik Ten Hag. And that is a responsibility that he should take. Man United's first corner was in the 81st minute of the game. You cannot tell me that that's just on the player's fault. That's not it. You need to put in a plan in place to try and get something out of the game. It's just like Man United, for me, feel like they are behaving like a small team, where they go away to these other teams and they try play counter-attacking football, and they do a low block, and they are not imposing their own style at these grounds. We remember that Man United have not won against the top 9 or top 10 or top half teams specifically in the last 2 years, and that's with Erik Ten Hag. That is not a good look at all. And for me, yes, we can blame Erik Ten Hag for that. Throughout the game, Man United did not look like they were going to score. And that has to be down to coaching, whatever they're doing in training. I don't know what they strive for when they go to these top teams away in the Premier League. And this is not a story or a narrative from just one game, yesterday's game. This has been a continuous narrative. Man United concede so many chances. They allow so many shots against them. And that has to be down to the game plan. And that is solely on the shoulders of Erik Ten Hag, because he's the manager. Do I think he should be sacked? For me, not yet. Almost too soon. I think we still need to give him time. Maybe at least until halfway throughout the season. Not long ago, we were celebrating the fact that he's reached the fastest 50 Premier League wins, faster than any other manager, if I'm not mistaken, in Man United since Sir Alex. He's got a decent record. So on paper, he does not look bad, and therefore I feel like just give him the chance. He also has had to deal with so many different issues. Jadon Sancho's issue, Cristiano Ronaldo's issue. He's dealing with Varane now. That is an issue. Mason Greenwood he couldn't have. There's been so many off the field issues that he's had to handle, and I'm pretty sure I'm missing some of them. But he has been given a budget, and I think, in my view, he spent it pretty recklessly, and his transfers have not necessarily worked out for the best. However, I still feel like for now it's too soon. Who would come in his place? You need to have a succession plan if you are planning on firing someone. So would it make the team better or worse? And I feel like it would be a step backwards again for United, because who would come in? I also think he's been let down by his players. He's been let down by Onana, that he's purchased. The David De Gea situation, I'm not sure he handled that well. David De Gea did make mistakes, but however, he did have the most clean sheets last season. So yes, handled that. Maybe not in the best way, as there's also no backup anymore. I think Marcus Rashford is the biggest letdown. He scored a big chunk of Man United's goals last season, although it was in a specific period. He's not producing. He's hardly producing anything this season, so that is a huge letdown. Rasmus Højlund is Ten Hag's purchase. Rasmus Højlund hasn't started firing in the Premier League. Anthony, how's that signing working out? Man United with Mason Mount purchase as well this window, and they also have so many injuries. These are, in a way, things that Ten Hag could have influenced or did decide upon, because these are his transfer targets, and I feel like these are the players that have also let him down. But in terms of injuries, that's something that he cannot control, and therefore I feel like that just makes it very difficult to give an honest or full assessment of his time now at Man United. And so far I feel like it would be premature. It would be a premature decision to fully put the responsibility on Erik Ten Hag and basically sack him. I do not think that would be the most fair thing to do right now, as of this moment. But this is still a coach that took Man United to a third place finish in his first season. Not too bad. 2 finals. Lost another final against treble winners Man City. I mean, Man City were the favourites, so it's still a good, I guess, season overall, because he won the Carabao Cup. So there's something to build on. I feel like other coaches have started with much less, specifically Arteta, who we also mentioned in this video. So what is trusting the process? I guess we'll find out in the next month.